Hi, I'm Robert Begley with day 297 of my video challenge. Today's the anniversary of Patrick Henry's famous speech. I spoke about it a few days ago, but I thought, let me show how it interacts with Aristotle's idea of ethos, logos, and pathos. In Aristotle's rhetoric, he says for persuasion, you need three elements: ethos, which means you appeal to the ethics, the morality of the character. You want to have a steady character. Logos is a logical argument that you're presenting. And then pathos is the emotion, having some kind of emotional appeal. Now, not appeal to emotions in the logical fallacy sense where you're rejecting the rational case, but you want to show what's in it for the audience. I mean, that's a big part of what persuasive speaking is. And just in the opening, if we just look at the opening of Henry's speech, he covers all three of these. He starts by saying, "No man thinks more highly than I do of the patriotism as well as the abilities of the very worthy gentlemen who have just addressed this house." So he's saying, he's giving them respect. He's not coming right in and saying, "You guys are all wrong. I have the answers." No. So by reaching out to them and saying, giving them this kind of ethical respect, he's setting the stage there. Then he goes into logos. Next line. "But different men often see the same subject in different lights. Therefore, I hope it will not be thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if, entertaining as I do, opinions of a character very opposite of theirs." Wow. And he continues, "I shall speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve." So there's an authenticity here. Okay, he's saying, I'm going to give you my case, but guess what? I'm not going to hold back. And what Henry would do on stage, or whether it's in St. John's Church or in a court of law, he would often start out slowly and then build the emotion and just finish with this just flourishing at the end where people are just, wow, they're ready to take action. So he continues on in the speech, and where is the pathos part? Well, still in the first paragraph, he says, "For my own part, I consider it as nothing less than the question of freedom or slavery." Right? What question? The question before the House is one of an awful moment in the country. All right. And he's drawing that distinction, freedom and slavery. For time, we have to bracket the fact that he was a slaveholder because at present, the battle is between colonies and the British, who are taking over, closing ports in Boston, have their troops everywhere across the colonies. And he's saying, I got to stand up here. This is it. Should I keep back my opinions at such a time through fear of giving offense? I should consider myself as guilty of treason towards my country and an act of disloyalty. Wow. So the man is laying down the gauntlet. Now, as we covered in the Hero Show, 10 years earlier when the Stamp Act was passed, Henry, the first speech that really put him on the map, he wanted to fight against these taxes, and he wanted to come down on King George. He said, he knew his history. He said, Caesar had his Brutus, Charles had his Cromwell. In other words, these two leaders had people who assassinated them. And King George, and he pauses for effect. And everyone's like, treason, treason. He says, King George should profit from their experience. And they sigh of relief, but he ends by saying, if this be treason, make the most of it. So the man is always throwing down the gauntlet. He was the first, as Thomas Jefferson said, the first one calling for independence. And is liberty or death? There's no middle ground. Security, which is what people crave today, this kind of middle ground between liberty or death. No, security is on the way towards death. Because anyone who secures you medical benefits or anything the welfare state is advocating, anything you trade your independence for some kind of gift, you're giving up your freedom. It's just that simple. But liberty or death, Patrick Henry put it best there. All right, that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow, day 298 of the video challenge.